Ow. Oh, ooh, I hear myself for real now. Oh, now I want to rap. I want to beatbox now. We're back at the Comedy Power Hour on 98.5, KUAW 98.5. Lord, let me stop messing up. Brought to you by the Music and More Foundation. I'm your host that does the most, Janell Bangs. Pew, pew, pew. Yes, I give myself trumpets and horns. And I have a special guest in the studio today. One of my favorite people in Kansas City, one of my favorite personalities. He is BombBombBomb.com, DJ High IQ.
You got it right.
Pew, pew, pew. Yes, your baby mama's favorite DJ. But I call him Sean. Thank you for coming. Yes, so does his mom. Speaking of which, happy belated Mother's Day to all of our mothers out there. I hope you had a fabulous day. I love Mother's Day because my mother is very petty with a purpose. And I think this is just the African American urge of mothers to be like, I don't want a gift, but I expect a gift. Does your mother do that?
Well, she sent a very cryptic text message that nobody responded to.
Oh, so y'all got like a family group text thing going?
Well, they do. I'm in it, but it's definitely muted.
Okay.
I check it like once a day.
I got you. We are the same person. So yes. I'm happy that my mother loved her gift. I just want to send Amazon and the gods a big shout out because I think I ordered that thing at like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning on Friday, and it was to her by Saturday. So whatever y'all was doing, thanks. I feel like somebody went and picked it up at the store around the corner from her house and just dropped it off and boxed it for me. But yes, happy belated Mother's Day to all the mothers in the building and, future mothers. I saw a lot of people dropping pregnancy announcements yesterday, which I think is the ultimate, like, pew, pew, pew. When you drop your pregnancy announcement on Mother's Day, it's like you just like on all the mothers, like, ha, look at my womb. Look what I did. Look how it simultaneously lined up with, the universe and whatever day Mother's Day falls on in May.
That better be an April Fool's joke.
Hilarious. So I'm gonna do the format of the show a little backwards today because I am running off of like this much energy. If y'all have been following my journey since Thursday or Friday, I don't know. I'm so discombobulated. I believe it was Thursday. Yes, I left Thursday night. I have been traveling by train to the Big Chief and Bicycle Comedy Festival, which I want to give a huge kudos to Wally Wallace for inviting me out and curating something so phenomenal. I have never seen anything like this. Y'all, I was nervous because I'm black. And I was just nervous because I was black. I've never heard of Trinidad, Colorado. Everybody thought I was going to Trinidad. God bless y'all. And
I so was gonna buy a ticket until you told me it was in Colorado.
Everyone's like, by train? What? This is a lie. And I'm like, no, it's like Colorado. Yeah, I don't know where it's at in conjunction to Denver or whatnot. But yes, by train. From Kansas City, we left at like 10 o'clock at night, 10:30 at night, and arrived at 7-ish, 8-ish in the morning in Trinidad, Colorado. It's not a train station. It's just a stop. It's just a sign that say Amtrak that they dropping you off at. Like no station, no water fountain, no trash can, no nothing. It's just a stop that say Amtrak. It's not even a platform. It just say... It's a sidewalk and it's got a little sign that say Amtrak Trinidad, Colorado, right? So thank God Wally showed up in his Subaru or whatever vehicle that was, a Toyota Highlander or something, and he whisked us away to the Travel Lodge Hotel. If y'all don't know, or motel, if y'all don't know me, I don't like motels. If my door on the outside, I don't really mess with it. But I was like, I'm trying to be like, I'm optimistic in this town of 9,000 people in the middle of nowhere. What helped me is there was 12 dispensaries next door to that Travel Lodge. So that might have pushed me through enjoying this trip. But it really was a phenomenal experience. I met so many amazing comics. And I wanted to highlight, I normally highlight a comic at the ends of the show, but I want to kind of start because I want to have this conversation with Sean too once we get into it, just about the tiers of comedy and how comedy just there are so many comedians that we don't know. Like, I think the world is so used to seeing big, huge names like your Kevin Harts and your Corey Holcombs or your Mike Epps and things like that we don't realize there's like a whole echelon of comedians that you'll never see that may not have TV credits but have literally been working comedy circuits and things like that for years. And recently, comedy and comedians have just become under attack because of the sensitivity and the nature of comedy, but also I think the art of hopping up on stage and trying to fight somebody, people are now paying attention to it because of the whole Oscars phenomenon. But this has kind of been an occurring thing in comedy. And I recently met a comic and I wanted to shout him out. His name is Zach Abeda from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And why I want to shout him out is I just want to commend this young man. He was shot several times at his own show last week, like several times. Like
you said he was what?
Shot, bang, bang. And he literally still showed up to this comedy festival, bandages and all, with his nurse doing wound care as the comedy festival was going on. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And just to see every comic like running up to him and hugging him and loving on him, and to find out his story and just to see him turn that into joy and laughter on stage. And it just reminds me of, one, why we do comedy and why comedians are put in this realm. Like, it's this, God-given talent where we learn to balance life. But just to see him do that. So I wanted to commend him. Y'all need to go follow him on all social media platforms. He has a podcast also, Fiend City Podcast. He was just a wonderful spirit to also be so kind and nice after all of that. Because I would have been like, shut up, stop talking to me. Don't ask me questions. Yes, I'm 50 Cent of comedy. Mind your business, But he, just to see, his resilience in it, and just to talk about the adversity of comedy. A lot of people don't understand, like me, I'm a road comic, a touring comic, and just the adversity that we face, a lot of the money that we have to spend to invest in ourselves. We're not getting these large payouts every weekend. We still have to pay for travel accommodations. Comedy festivals are a major, major, major investment in yourself. You don't really get paid at comedy festivals. So there's just so many tiers of comedy and adversity. To see somebody get shot and still go on stage with no massive payout involved, but just for the love and the networking of comedy, I admire that. I do. And you see like the situation with Dave Chappelle, I'm sure you heard about last week, where I still would like to know the backstory about why this individual decided to do this. And with Dave Chappelle of all people, because I'm so happy he didn't die. But I don't think they charged him. He's not going to be charged. So yeah, I don't know if somebody I don't know. I got to read more into it. But comedy and comedians have constantly been under attack, I feel like, and I just wish people would know, like, there's more than just these major headlines that you see. There are a lot of comedians that have been robbed at gunpoint. There are comedians that I have seen that have been, robbed at gunpoint by promoters that just refuse to pay them at the end of a show and pull the gun out on them like, I could shoot you or not pay you. Which would you prefer? So there are a lot of things that we face as comics on the road that I think you'll never hear about or make mainstream news, So I just want to really commend Zach once again for just, one, coming into my life, and two, just loving on everybody that loves on him, and just being, optimistic and still wanting to do the art of stand-up, because it really is at a point now where it's life or death for some people,
That's wild.
It's wild. It's very wild. But once again, huge shout out to this festival. I think it's phenomenal. All comics, if you are brave enough to drive down to Trinidad or New Mexico, drive or do the train experience. I do not regret it. Did I hate sitting on the train for that many hours? Yeah, but no. You know what I'm saying? You can sleep. Do what you need to do. Get work done. I got work done. So I can't really complain about it. Was I afraid that I was sitting in the car with people who just got released from prison? Yes. But I made it. I made it. I got 2 more comedy festivals to knock out. I'm really excited. Black Women Comedy Laugh Fest is coming up, and before I go on this tangent, I just love this festival. This is my third time going. Just to be in New York doing comedy is like, you know, it's the bee's knees. It's pretty much what you aspire to do sometimes doing comedy. Some people are different levels of what you aspire to do. But I just wanted people to know this is amazing. For every Black woman I know in comedy, I encourage you to go hang out, even if you're not in the festival, because the sisterhood, the love, it's just amazing. This festival is created out of rage for funny Black women feeling left out and overlooked. In my scene, as much as comedy as I do, I still feel left out and overlooked, which is crazy. This festival offers a sisterhood and a safe space for hilarious Black women to embrace our mental health, self-care challenges while uplifting and empowering one another. Facts. It does it for me every year. It's low-key like a spa trip. As we pursue our career in the entertainment industry, we are also known as, we're not a monolith. We have various life experiences that we get to share on stage. We're not just one thing. And I hate when Black people assume that Black women are just, we're going to talk about, you know, certain dynamics of a relationship and dating and bashing. Man, that's not us. We're not a monolith. There's so many experiences that you can gather from us. So please, if you're in New York, you know anybody in New York, tell them to come check out these shows. It's forever. It's one of the best decisions and experiences I will ever have in my life in the name of comedy. So that's that. I will be speaking more about that. Until it happens. And then after it happens, that is going to be June 15th through the 20th in New York City. So make sure y'all check us out. I'm excited. So
what was the other one? You said you had two more. What was
the Midwest Queer Comedy Festival. Thank you for reminding me. That is coming. I got to remember the dates. I just got I just got the submission that I was accepted into it. So yay. Boom, boom, pum. I'm excited about that. That's in Ohio. I've never got to perform in Ohio before. So this would be a new market for me. I'm excited. I love this festival. I did it years ago in Kentucky and had the time of my life in Kentucky. It is a fun little cute city.
Comedy be putting you in some really odd places.
Weird places. But one thing about me, I don't meet strangers. I'm a make a friend. So I love it. I'm excited about that. So thank you for reminding me. This is why you're a great force within the city. So I want to bring on my guest, and this is the reason now. Sean is not a comic, but he is a connoisseur of comedy. He knows a lot of things about comedy. And he's kind of been with me since the beginning of all of my little shenanigans in Kansas City. So he used to be like our DJ, because you know comics, we do not like to go on stage without music. So he was our guy back in the day. For Just Last Mondays at Club 700. If you from Kansas City, it's like the millennials green duck. You know what I'm saying?
It was a fly green duck.
It was a very fly, upscale green duck. So
minus the Tanqueray.
No Tanqueray consumption was harmed. Hennessy,
Yeah.
but we'll have to get sponsorship before we say more about that. Anyway,
Sure.
Sean, welcome to the show.
Long time coming.
Yes. Now, if you know him, he has DJ everything in this community. I love him though, because his it goes beyond your average party or club DJ. Like, I mean, the man goes from the strip club to the community service initiatives. So this is what I love about him, his give back every year and just everything that he does. So before we get into his mind, give us some information about you and, you know, let us know about Sean.
Well, currently I'm living the life of a nomad. I stay everywhere and nowhere at the same time. That's pretty much it. I go, like you said, from doing strip clubs to I was just recently DJing for community and schools.
Okay.
So I was out here DJing for the school board, essentially.
Okay.
And some people from the Kaufman Foundation and people with a lot more money than me. So I definitely didn't charge enough, and I'm not cheap.
I like it. This is one reason why I love him. Comedians, let me tell you something. If you ever want to learn your value and worth, befriend a DJ, because they will never let you get shortcutted. Because I've learned too, especially when you deal with booking promoters and like those private gigs and things like that, there's always a DJ involved. And that DJ is going to get paid a certain amount off tops.
Should.
Absolutely. And if they are getting paid that, you should be getting paid a fair amount too. And I have learned that from DJs, kind of setting your rate and value. So he has kept me always like, don't get messed over. You know, get the contracts, get the money up front, you know, get your deposits. Befriend a DJ, because when I say they know promoters and the entertainment game and contracts very well, do that.
Yeah, never be ashamed about doing good business, because a lot of people will do that. And I haven't done a ton of business with white people, so most of my experiences are with the Black community, and I can only speak from that. So I don't want to be like, oh, it's just our people, but that's primarily my experience. But you should never feel guilty about doing actual good business, but for being professional. You shouldn't feel guilty about speaking, sounding professional, or anything like that. So always get your money, value your pockets. Don't take no shorts, because they're not.
Absolutely. And that's kind of been one of my experiences sometimes too, when you book a certain caliber of shows. If you start saying, hey, if you want to handle it through my agency, or hey, I got a contract, sometimes people will kind of back away from you, either because it feels more expensive to them, or sometimes that contractual obligation kind of scares them away from bookability, or you know what. Have you had experiences like that when you feel like you pull out paperwork or have a certain expectation
for sure
change the table?
For sure. Anytime you start talking about, and then also another thing is, I don't have another quote unquote job. So I think a lot of times people will deal with people that DJ as a secondary form of making money. So, okay, I don't know why they're doing that. But the person calling me has called me like 3 times in the past 10 minutes. I don't know why they're doing that. But any which way, what was I at? Yeah, so dealing with people, you tell them that like, this is my sole form of how I make money, and I expect to be paid like so, and I'm an entertainer. And more times than not, you need me more than anything else you got going on, and whatever you got going on. So whether it be a comedy show, whether it be a birthday party, whatever the case may be, you're going to need me more than anything else.
Yes, absolutely. So I was actually watching a live today with Rodney Perry. I know Rodney Perry is like my mentor, my uncle, best friend. And
he was here recently, no?
Yeah. He was here last weekend.
Okay.
So he was recently speaking on his live about the power of people needing you. The thing about it is, people, when they want to book you when they know that you can make them money. So sometimes you have to push yourself and just keep going and grinding until you don't need anybody, because that's essentially when people will need you. And I think that's a lot of the times when good money comes into play, and you know, that respect for the legalities of booking, for booking's sake, is that, you know, if you need me and you realize I'm an asset to your business, then you will respect the way I operate. Essentially,
I think a lot of times what people respect also is when you follow up with doing good business by being actual, like you're punctual, you're pretty much whatever you discussed, you go through those points and y'all hit those. So I don't think there's anybody that could well, one person could, but that's a whole nother story. I don't think there's anybody that legitimately could say that they had a bad experience when it came to booking me. So I also proud about that. So there's not going to be some wild Facebook post where 100 people are chastising me.
They mad.
Yeah,
they big mad.
Yeah, so it's just all about doing business. And another thing that I realized is when you start charging what people deem as quote unquote expensive, what you stop dealing with is a certain class of individual. So the business you start doing, it's actually more pleasurable. Like you start doing business with people that have you, I'll never forget. I did a Christmas party about 2-3 years ago, and I was actually running late because I couldn't find the place, and they had no elevator. It was like 33 steps carried in.
They thought you was a quarterback or something.
Oh my God, I was miserable. And when I got up there, they was like, "Hey, are you Sean?" I'm like, "Yeah." They said, "There you go." There was my patient. That was my whole check.
Wow.
I hadn't set up anything, but they were drinking heavily, so I imagined that they wanted to get me out the way.
Okay.
So they handed me my check. When I tell you, any request they had was getting played. I didn't care because I'd already been paid.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love when the money gets in the hand before. I work with a comic named April Macy, and we did a show together, and when we were leaving, they were like, "All right, we're going to mail you your check." And she was like, "That's not what my contract says." And I was like, "Well, they told me that before. I got there, they would mail me the check." And she was like, "Did you mail them jokes?" Then no.
Yeah, for sure.
Then don't get your money up front.
For
and
sure.
it taught me a very valuable lesson because I feel like I'm in a position where I can't necessarily always try to negotiate with people because they're just like, well, fine, because that's what that venue was like. You'll never work here again.
Man, they didn't stop making venues when they made that one.
Ooh, come on again. This is why I enjoy. This is why I say get you a DJ. If you are a comedian, get you a DJ sidekick, because they will teach you and just show you so many different levels of how you can play the game in comedy. Because I know a lot of the times when we start in comedy, we're self-producing our own events and our own shows and things. And then when we get into clubs, sometimes we think we just have to come in and do, it's a lot of confusion into what is expected or as an act. And sometimes, like, I get on comics sometimes because they're not on time, and that punctual thing is so, sometimes we get so comfortable as entertainers that we feel like, oh, the show don't start until I'm there anyway. They not gonna dance till I set up anyway. And I've seen DJs have that mindset, like they can't do nothing till I set up anyway. And it's like, but no, you still want to have some type of professionalism.
I ain't that kind of rich. I ain't Erykah Badu. Erykah Badu got platinum plaques hanging up. I do not. I got just a bunch of tennis shoes. That is it.
Yes, this is also why I love him, because he's a sneakerhead, bona fide. So
a little bit.
Yes. So this is what I love. We have great conversations about comedy. Let me ask you this right now: if you were to name like your top 3 comics, who are you picking on your roster? Man. I know one is Janell Banks.
For sure.
Okay,
for
cool.
sure.
I didn't want to have to.
Man, it's crazy because I used to be. My top 3 used to be pretty much real generic. It used to be when I was a teenager. Mostly it was Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, and I forget who my third could have been. Probably like Jerry Seinfeld. But now I think now with the advent of YouTube and Netflix, you can just stumble on all kinds of comedians. I used to be a big Brian Regan fan.
Right. Okay. I have a great story about him.
Really?
I was opening for Alonzo Bowden.
That was the next name I was gonna say.
And he literally just showed up on his tour bus. He had a show at the Uptown, and I'm like when I say people were freaking out, and I'm just in the back like, I'm on the show, so I know I can meet him. It was dope. But yeah, he's really, and he's I think right now the highest paid comic right now.
Really?
I know back a couple of years ago, he was listed as like the highest paid touring comic or something like that.
I would have never thought that.
Him especially, yeah. So yeah. He's a beast. And Alonzo,
yeah. I like his style. I like his style. It's real dry, sarcastic. It's like
it's you.
Yeah, probably. It was like, how'd you not see it this way? That kind of comedy. I recently, actually this weekend, I saw. I cannot think of his name, and it's sad because he had a joke about people not remember his name. Is it John Hinton?
Yes, John Hinton, OB.
Yeah, that was like one of his jokes. He's like, I'm gonna be Overton for life.
Yes.
And so I saw him this weekend, and I never would have thought to go see him. It was just one of the things that just popped up, and I was like, I ain't got nothing to do. Well, at the time I didn't have nothing to do, and it was literally like watching your uncle. It was the funniest. It wasn't anything overly it wasn't anything hard to grasp. It wasn't real complex jokes, none of that. But it was hilarious, and it was just like sitting with your uncle.
I enjoy him. I enjoy working with him. We did a weekend where we didn't know people were gonna come because it was a snowstorm. Y'all know how Midwest weather get down, and for the show to be sold out, we had a good time, and people hung out and drank with us. And he's really one of those comics that it's fun to be in the green room with. Sometimes I get intimidated with being around certain comics because you can tell they don't want to be bothered, but he just automatically has like that. Come on in, sit down.
Because he's like an uncle.
Yeah, he really gives you uncle vibes. I love him. Like I love him.
Quick question. I do not remember his name, but they had a comedian open up for him. He's a white cat from
Stephen Taylor
from Louisiana. He was so funny, and it was like by accident. His accent first off, is hilarious. And so, but no, I enjoyed him too. I cannot remember his name at all.
Yes, he's a local fave. Oh, we got some feedback going. There we go. Yeah, he is a local fave as well. I'm glad to see he got on that show because that's kind of like a salt and vinegar tip. It's just an unexpected surprise or whatever. And that's what I love about comedy is sometimes you can mesh just two different styles, two different, unexpected surprises, and it's still a great, great show. I recently kind of had an experience where a friend didn't necessarily want to go to a show I was on because she didn't know the people who were on the show. And she was like, they're white guys and I don't know them. I'm like, but these dudes are funny. Even though some of them may have that sarcastic, sense of humor that's, satirical comedy. And then some people, like one guy I know, he's just a funny, like one-liner, but I appreciated every aesthetic. One was like this storyteller, but when he got to the point, you were laughing and you were laughing along. I aspire to be a storytelling comic. I'm just nervous if it get quiet, y'all gonna throw something at me.
That's a lot of layers.
It's a lot. And you have to be cold at it. And it is something I really aspire to do. Like I'm starting to do little bits, longer bits, but I started doing comedy on Prospect. So
Def Comedy Jam.
Yeah, I got to punch, but that is one thing I like is that you're just very seasoned when it comes to a concept of comedy because some people will just automatically assume race or gender or, I don't want to go. Oh, you on a queer comedy show? I ain't going to see that. Oh, you on a comedy show with drag queens? That ain't my stick. And I'm like, ooh, but you finna miss out, So I appreciate that you like different,
Well, my favorite show is Seinfeld, so...
It makes sense. It makes sense. Absolutely.
That and The Wire, and don't ask why. Totally two different ends of the spectrum, but yeah. So
I can see.
I love those. Ali Sadiq too. Ali Sadiq.
Ali Sadiq is another one. I love the fact that he just sits down and has a conversation with you.
I thought he had like bad knees.
I thought it was because he was extremely tall, and then when I met him, I'm like, we the same height.
I'm about to say he's short.
He's very short. Yeah. Like we are. Like Ali Sadiq probably got like maybe 2 inches on me, but he is don't go there. Don't be trying to make me seem vertically challenged. But he is. I love just the conversation that he has. He very much gives me like Paul Mooney vibes. I think that could be
minus the white people walking out on him.
I definitely think he could be, our generation's Paul Mooney. I definitely appreciate his story, his background, and then just how he continuously ties current events and everything that's going on back into that story and just his life in general. So,
can I ask you a question? Well, first off, one of the most underrated specials of all time is Patrice O'Neal, Elephant in the Room.
Okay.
Which one do you think is better, Raw or Delirious?
That is hard. For me, I'm always going to say Raw because that's the one that I kind of absorbed growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the one that I feel like I know through and through.
So we were fed Raw. When I found Delirious, I was like, oh, we're putting the wrong one
at the
precipice.
Maybe because Raw was more of the cleaner version, and then that was just didn't the Gap Band open up that show? It was massive.
Yeah, it was I think he was probably at like the height of his powers. I think that was post SNL. I think Delirious was like right around SNL.
Yes.
So I think that's probably why Raw. I think he's Beverly Hills Cop. I think he's
absolutely.
I think he's everything that people think Kevin Hart is now. I think that's what he was then. So like ubiquitous. But anyway, I was just wondering about that.
Vocabulary. And this is why I brought him on the show, y'all. And he might be back. I don't know. We're gonna see what his schedule's like. DJs be everywhere. So that is. I got to go back and watch Elephant in the Room because I think it's been a long time since I've seen it. And I see Patrice O'Neal coming up a lot because people are having these who's the GOAT conversations. And I think that a lot of people forget, because he's passed, that he hands down just was.
Patrice O'Neal had a run, but I think the thing about it was he was juxtaposed. Well, not juxtaposed, but
it just wasn't a mainstream.
It wasn't mainstream because even when it was, like his best friend was Bill Burr. So it's not like Bill Burr does a lot. He doesn't do a lot of crossing over the same way that Gary Owen does. So even though it was odd, is Bill's Burr comedy is actually pro-black. And he's married to a black woman,
right?
So his I remember white people
put
were
him
upset.
under a microscope, though. Black people were quick to put him under a microscope, and I'd be like,
but he hasn't. I don't think he's fumbled at all.
I think Gary Owens done fumbled more than he has.
True story. And I remember Bill Burr. They was trying to cancel him when he did that SNL.
Yes, absolutely.
And all he was doing was telling the truth.
Exactly.
But,
exactly.
Like they say, I guess the hit dogs holler. But yeah.
Ooh, child. Woo. Listen, and that's where kind of, so we do this segment where we talk about life in one meme, and because memes basically,
around the world now.
Yeah, they're, it used to be audio clips, 15-second videos. Now it's just clip art, and
getting people paid too. People be stealing other people's memes and getting paid.
Yeah, and people be doing memes on stage and doing stand-up thinking we didn't see that.
I know what?
Oh, that's a thing now. It's a thing, and it's so scary because it's a thing that you almost, I feel like it's a bad thing and a good thing for comics, because sometimes something you say can be so catchy, people just assume it's a meme, and it's like, no, that just is how I felt, or came off my head. I'm not in the Twitterverse. I don't know, So yeah, it's a huge thing. And like, I know we were having a conversation about that. A fellow friend we had, talked about how like people think that it's money and going viral or being, a meme being viral. And sometimes, yes, there is money in it, but it has to be kind of one of those consistent alley hoops from another platform or something like that.
That was the person that actually educated me that a lot of these pages steal them from people. Like she was the one that educated me on that. I had no clue, because I was thinking like she about to be next up to blow. She's like, man, people rob me essentially. And I mean, it's very true, because people take videos off everything. I didn't like, that's a whole business.
Intellectual property, I think, is going to be, I mean, it's already huge in the law field, but I think it's going to take a whole new turn just because of viewership and the things that are going on online and what's considered, especially like with NFTs. Now that I'm finally wrapping my head around that, I'm like, so you sell art that anybody else can resell, or whatever it is, anybody can resell. But I feel like in the long run,
I feel like that's a racket.
Exactly. And I also feel like in the long run, somebody's going to be like, no, that's my original art. How you out here selling,
I just don't think it's one of my favorite podcasts is The Right Time with Bomani Jones. And he calls it funny money. He calls like blockchain and all that stuff. He's like, it's funny money. It's like, it's not tangible. It's not, you can't, it doesn't do anything per se. Warren Buffett was just talking about like all that, like if I have land, I can do things with that land to net me money. So all this other stuff is like, what?
Or barter. You can't, how can I barter Bitcoin?
Why would you think the US government would allow you to take this random non-tangible thing to replace what we sell essentially? Why would you think the U.S. government would let that happen?
I mean, essentially, it's like we could have been running around here with monopoly money in the long run. Like we should have, kept our held on to them sorry ponds, because you could have been, tapping out or trouble. You could have used those pieces. So it is a very weird space to me. But to bring up this meme, it's a comedian. talked about it on this show before, but it's a comedian inside of a museum, like in a little, you know how they glass or block off things in a museum, and it's just a comedian doing comedy. And the caption is, "This is something that died around 2021 because too many people were getting offended by it," and it just says comedy. And I hear, like, I saw a post that went viral off of Twitter about a person who felt that comedy was just an outdated practice. And that blew my mind, because right now I feel that this is where we need comedy. When you have politicians going awry, I mean, we just got a dude who got elected or who won an election and is in jail for attempted murder of his wife or murdering his wife, and he still won an election.
I gotta start watching the news.
Man, it's crazy. So I think at a time where, especially after surviving a pandemic, where we still now live in this realm where now when's the next wave of germs coming, you know, when epidemic or whatever, like what's about to hit us next. And so I think that this is a time that we need comedy, and not just thinking of comedy from like a nightclub standpoint, you know, like you need comedians to facilitate, to be your icebreakers in corporate America and social settings. I think comedians are fantastic. Even burying people, marrying people, all of that. Comedy is a forefront of like, for me, comedy is conversation. Like, I legitimately can't communicate with people unless I have humor. So I think that humor and comedy very much is needed right now, and needed in more forms and outlets than just your average comedy club. You know, I think if we had comedians out here doing, you know, commentary on CNN, people will be able to tune in more about what's going on in the world, because people are trying to grab headlines and, you know, digest what's going on in society by blurbs and memes and stuff. So if you had somebody like Earthquake come out here and tell you, like, I mean, legit, Earthquake had me piped up. Like, I'm happy that I got insurance, because he talked about that in his special about, like, we would go out and spend hundreds of dollars on shoes and cars and all that, but when it comes to insuring our body, we don't want to pay that. We'll be like, them health insurance premiums are high, but we'll literally spend hundreds of dollars a month on everything else.
That's why I'm just trying to eat right.
see
That's why I'm just trying to eat right.
But I mean,
and be monogamous.
right that is important. But that's what I love about comedy, because you can have those conversations with people. You can educate people about the importance of life insurance. You see all these people going around selling life insurance right now.
I feel like that's a new hustle too. Like,
it's a lot.
It's certain people I don't trust with my life insurance, and I'm just like,
I don't want to buy life insurance at Sunfresh. I don't. I came in here for some hog moms. That's what we're here for.
You can't be selling that next to collard greens. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, so times have changed to where I feel like comedians definitely can facilitate some of the conversations and some of the different dynamics that we kind of have to maneuver through right now in life. So I don't think comedy should be abolished or eliminated, y'all, or stopped. Like, it's not an outdated art form to me, or, you know, a form of entertainment. I think that's crazy. I think expecting comedy in the form of 15-second sketches is ludicrous. But maybe because I'm a stand-up comedian, I think of it differently.
It's definitely made some people that are not real life humorists. Is definitely giving them a platform that they don't need. You know, so it's a lot of people that I've seen from like the Vine space, the real space, all that, and they're trying to make that switch over to stand up, and it's not one-to-one. Same way people say, oh man, you should try stand up. Nah, that take time and that take patience. And I was like, nah, I'm funny in your living room.
Right. But comedy has become such a numbers game. And this is where I saw a post about this online, and it resonated with me, because I think from where I stand, I see this in Kansas City. It's becoming a numbers game. It's not about funny anymore. It's about how many tickets can you sell, how many people can you put in the seat. And it's perceived if
Metrics.
if you have millions of followers or thousands of followers, and you know you're in the algorithms that you're going to sell tickets. Now, I've seen that happen. I've seen shows sell out because of that, but also seen mad marketing and promotion go behind that because those names are popular. It's easier to go ahead and put a blast on all the radio stations or, you know, paper the town out or whatever, mass promotion, however you do it, by, you know, ads and spaces online or whatever. But then you run into little old men down the totem pole like me, where I don't want to have a lot of followers online. It scares me. Y'all weird. Y'all say really nasty things in people's DMs.
I ain't that
but it just, you know, it's this dynamic and expectation that if you can sell tickets, I don't really care how funny you are, as long as people are in the seats. Like, you get up there and talk about chicken bones and dance to music, I don't care, you know. So that is a complicated space. I think I see most comedians are starting to kind of transition and just go with the flow and get on TikTok or get into the reels and things like that. So, I mean, even I have fell for it and have had to, but I've recently kind of had success where some of my older jokes have went viral. So it's kind of helped me. Yeah. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to complain. I'm going to try to jump out there in the universe.
So to go with that, I think me and you have had a lot of the same issues, struggles, whatever, ups and downs. And so I remember at one point, specifically in Kansas City, they used to try and make the DJ serve as the promoter too. And I was like, it's not the same thing. Like, so my ability to attract people to come hear me play should not be conflated with my ability to play to an audience.
Absolutely.
And it's really actually lazy. And truth be told, a lot of the venues were getting over. I don't know if that's how it goes anymore, because I really don't do a lot of like nightclub stuff anymore. But that was one of the things that definitely used to agitate me the most. And so they would book you, and if nobody showed up, they try to make it seem like that, like you're a horrible DJ. Like, nah, I can be. Two things can be true at the same time. I can be an amazing DJ and just a terrible promoter, because they're not the same job. So even if we were going to college, that wouldn't be on the same degree. It would be two different majors. So yeah, it's definitely, I understand where it's coming from.
That's why I say you got to keep a DJ friend, because that is now what I'm going to use to pitch myself. Don't think that just because I'm not selling out tickets or I can't fill up your ticket, you know, your seat, that does not affect my showmanship at all. Even if 5 people show up, baby, they gonna laugh. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And also, you need to participate in the game. This is your event. This is what you wanted to do. That is one of the reasons why I appreciated kind of crossing over into the comedy club spectrum, because it takes away that pressure to constantly try to sell tickets. Because at the same time, if you don't sell those tickets, you do start to associate that lack of ticket sales with, am I a good comedian? And I don't never want to question my funny, because, you know, then that'll tap me out or psych me out from wanting to actually hit the stage.
Yeah. One of my favorite stories, Kevin Durant, who if you don't like sports, it doesn't matter, because everybody knows who Kevin Durant is, because he's one of the world's greatest basketball players.
He's also in all those memes about being ashy.
But like, that's how great he is. He don't even lotion his ankles. He don't brush his hair. Like, he's that cold. For what? So when he was in the draft, they used to have do weightlifting or whatever. So he couldn't lift the weight of 225 pounds, but he's like, but nobody here can stop me. So he's like, there's nobody that can defend me, and I'm 19 years old. He's like, nobody in here. So the thing is like, yeah, I might not be strong, but I can play this game well. Like, that's just not where I'm at with that. So it's always...
That just makes me want to tell everybody in middle school and high school, yeah, I did not do well on that presidential physical fitness test, but my stamina on stage is ridiculous. I don't sweat anymore. I don't get winded. Like, I really am borderline a triathlon on that stage, from getting to, especially when I host at the Improv, I've got to run back and forth from that theater, hear musical cues, sound cues, and run up them stairs in heels, and I'm over 200 pounds. You can't tell me I'm not an athlete.
Hold on, so that door isn't the green room right there?
That door is, but a lot of times I sit in the back to watch the show and hear the cues. Because, you know, if you host and you want to know when that comic's wrapping up, especially if it's your first time working with each other, you got to feel they set to know when it's time to move and make haste. And a lot of the times I got to just make haste, So, and with anything, even at the Comedy Club of Kansas City, sometimes I'm back in the green room and I got to run back out and run up that ramp. Sometimes I did a New Year's show and I was in the bathroom.
Oh no!
And they were like, "Coming to the stage." And this weekend I'm filling in for Janell Rollins, so I must be prompt and professional, right? I'm on the toilet, y'all. I still had to wash my hands, pull up my girdle and pantyhose, and run in heels through a dark club because the lights are off. And they're like, "Where is she?" And then I just popped up on stage like a ghost. Hey. Let's get into these jokes. You don't have no time to reset or anything or make fun of the fact that you winded, but it's just, you cannot tell me I'm not an athlete. And now I actually go work out because I have to keep, I learned the importance of drinking water, on show days. I'm drinking water like I'm about to go run at the track. That's really so that wine don't have me drunk.
How you leaning?
In the night, you got to balance.
That one woman at that one comedy show we went to, she definitely should have drank more water.
Oh man! So funny story time before we wrap up the show. Me and was that Don DC Curry?
Yeah.
So we went to go see Don DC Curry, who is a legend, and it was like a TED Talk for comedy. First of all, it was a phenomenal show, but he had this young lady in the show who just kept the laughter was just too much. It was just over the top. It was dramatic. Well, at the end of the show, she wanted to meet him, and I think he was gonna meet her, but
after heckling him as well.
But she threw up. Now, I've seen people be drunk at comedy shows. I've seen, when I was going to see D. Ray Davis at the Improv, a couple was so drunk that they literally got up in the middle of the show and stumbled out the show, falling over everybody, and went out that side exit door that nobody uses at the Improv where the chairs are stacked in front of.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that door worked.
I didn't even know it worked either. And I thought an alarm would sound or anything, but that's just how, they were so drunk that it was time to go.
They probably still haven't been found.
Listen, I don't know, but this lady proceeded to vomit in a cup. While the comedy club is, resetting the club and cleaning up and everything, this lady is sitting at her table just vomiting, and it's filling up. It's like frothy and white, and it's just filling up like a milkshake
swiftly.
And so then the cup is floweth over. So then she just proceeds to vomit in the tray, the French fry tray basket. That got holes in it. It's a basket.
So she starts throwing up essentially in a colander.
Everywhere, just everywhere. So one thing I will say, when you do go to a comedy club, respect that 2-item minimum, first of all. Second of all, tip these waitress and staff members.
I did not think about that. That was somebody's job to clean that up.
Yeah, somebody had to clean it. I know the people who had to clean it up, and I feel bad because that club, the staff is amazing. You know what I'm saying?
I did not think about that.
Yeah, and that ain't, you work in a comedy club, you don't think, oh, I'm going to be cleaning up vomit or fecal matter or anything to that nature.
That's
but those
nuts.
are things that happen. So all I'm saying is make sure you tip well. So before we get out of here, I like to bring upcoming events and then talk about the benefits of laughter. I don't know where I want to go. First of all, let me just toot my little horn. Cause like I said, I've been on a go. I've been moving. May 19th, I am headlining the Comedy Club of Kansas City, y'all. Pew, 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 pew. That is a huge honor and a pleasure. It's not my first time headlining at this club, but
it's been a while.
I think I haven't headlined since August. I just want to deem this as my home club, I guess. It just is where I'm always at. It feels comfortable. I have come to really enjoy my fan base there and have just met people. Like every time I do a show, people are like, "Oh my God, we love you. We didn't know you were gonna be here. Oh my God," So since I finally went viral, which validates my comedy career.
Of course.
You can't tell me nothing. Now I done checked all the boxes. I'm very excited to headline.
You just missing an adult take. That's all you need.
Man, come on, Kim K. Tell me which tripod I gotta buy.
That's all you missing. Get you a shower rod.
Give me OnlyFans, and I'm out there. Yeah. But yes. Please make sure you come out. Buy tickets. They're on the website at the Comedy Club of Kansas City. Just come out. working out, new material, not even working out. Working out for me, I don't really get to go to the gym much. So you finna laugh. You finna laugh. I watched some on the Netflix is a Joke special with Arsenio Hall was hosting with Cat Williams. He asked Cat Williams, like, how do you just go on these tours and arenas and you never, nobody sees you working material out or, you know, doing smaller clubs and venues. You just go out there and do it. And he was just like, because I trust me. You know what I'm saying? I trust the universe. I trust everything. I have this connection to comedy where I know I won't fail. And I don't ever want to sound cocky, but I have been ordained to do this. This is my calling. When I can't even communicate with people without being funny. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can be I literally work, I do a serious job for a living. I work in law firms, you know, I do paralegal work, and I'm still very like myself. I don't code switch, you know. So humor is embedded in everything I do, and I'm funny, and this is why you need to come out. Black girl magic and tenacity and just killing things for the name of Kansas City. I love representing the city because people just, it's the unexpected when I go places. They like, what? Kansas City? Wow. Like, yes, there's more than Eddie Griffin. You know, I'm trying to get to that level. Even though there's Eddie Griffin, there's Pat Brown. Those are two people that I love to death that have literally, you know, made a name in the comedy industry. But I want to be the next. You know what I'm saying? And so May 19th is the reason why you need to be at this club. And I ain't going to tell you again. I said what I said.
No, we'll tell them again.
Absolutely. And I'm going to keep telling you all week. I need the ticket sales to reflect so then I can validate my career once again.
Are they on sale now?
Yes, they are. Okay. They've been on sale, baby. May 27th through the 30th, Denver. I'm coming back to you. I'm sliding up in you, Colorado. Y'all like my favorite place to be right now. I'll be in Denver and Fairplay. I will post those shows and dates on MissJustLaugh.com because I have a website as well that validates my comedy career. I'm a brand. Also, New York. I'm sliding up in through you, baby. The 15th, I'm at Gotham Comedy Club. June 15th, June 16th as well, I'm at Gotham Comedy Club. June 17th, I'm at Chelsea Music Hall. June 17th, I am at the Belly of Laughs. And June 18th, I'm at the Stand NYC and New York Comedy Club. All of those dates are posted on my website as well. Let me post some coming dates for the Comedy Club of Kansas City, May 12th through the 14th. We got AJ Finney rolling back through, and he's doing his album recording, so make sure you slide through and see that. That's going to be funny. Be on the laugh track as well. Make history with him. 5/19 through the 20th. We got my boy from Philly, Clint Coley, coming through with the My Edibles Kicked In tour. Y'all know Clint Coley is a favorite in Kansas City. Make sure you come out and check him out June 9th through the 11th. We have my boy Derek Stroop coming through from Colorado. If you like Steven Taylor's accent, you will definitely love Derek Stroop's accent. Okay. I love it. I love it. And June 16th through the 18th, I just had to shout this out. The legendary, the iconic Margaret Cho will be in the building. I grew up watching her, so I'm super ecstatic for that. I will not be in town. I'm super sad, but I hope somebody video that for me. Improv, Kansas City Improv, May 13th through the 14th. We have the very beautiful and funny Jess Hilarious coming back through, so make sure you come to see her as well. May 20th through the 21st, we have Ari Schaefer in the building. I mess his name up every time. Lord, forgive me. And then June 3rd through the 4th, we have Ryan Hamilton in the building. So make sure you check out and patronize your local comedy clubs as well. We have some local produced shows. Also, I want to drop in shout out to Spend the Night KC. I recently just got to do their show at the Improv KC, and I had a blast. It was fun. They have a Spend the Night KC coming May 20th at 8 p.m. in Leavenworth. And Leah Sampson will be in town. She's amazing. She's out of Austin. She's beautiful. Make sure y'all follow her and check her out. She's on tour as well and be in the UK this summer. And this is a free show, by the way, as well. It's rare that you get free comedy, so come out, get them some money, throw money on the stage. As You Wish will be in the building Sunday, May 22nd at the Secret Handshake Studio. That's in the Strawberry Hill area. Tickets are just $10. We got my homegirl Jadea Driscoll in town from Memphis and H-Town. She'll be in the building as well. And it seems like I have one more show. Oh, Beans for Dinner, Wednesday, May 11th at 9 p.m. And that's every second Wednesday. I believe that is at Hamburger Mary's as well. So make sure you get into it, Kansas City. Y'all got a lot of laughing to do. Which leads me to my ending point is the benefit of laughter. Y'all know I got to leave you with something that tells you why comedy is important to you, and laughter, because essentially it saves your life, man. So hear me out. One of the benefits of laughter and health benefits is increasing your blood circulation as well as reducing cellular decay. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to help lower your blood sugar levels and increase all these good dopamines in your body to help you thrive and stay alive. So all I'm saying is you could pop pills or you could laugh. You know, I tell you that all the time. It's very beneficial to laugh. It also burns calories. I mean, I done lost 19 pounds in the last few months just laughing at my bank account. You gotta stay positive. You gotta thrive. I'm out on the Tinder, not looking for love anymore. I'm looking for an emergency contact at this point. I'm almost 40. I don't even need to be in love. I just want somebody to take me to my doctor's appointments and identify my body. So if that's you, tune in to KUAW on 98.5. You can find me here every second Monday. I want to thank my guest for coming in. I hope he comes in again because we can talk sports, DJing, and comedy on any given Monday or second Monday at least. Yeah. So thank you so much, DJ High IQ. Pew, 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 pew. He's like, yeah, he's so cool. He don't really. Thank you so much for coming through. I appreciate it. You know, so fantastic of you to be here.
Engineers always hate when I come in.
Yeah, so monotone, just so
yeah.
Smooth jazz with DJ High Q, just not high jazz, smooth jazz.
Smooth jazz,
yeah,
definitely 106.5.
Yeah, no acid jazz, smooth jazz.
You gotta be over the age of 30 to remember 106.5. But yeah, the city.
I love him. I love him to death. If you didn't learn nothing today, if you tell jokes, get you a friend that's a DJ. But thank y'all so much for tuning in to another phenomenal episode of the Comedy Power Hour, brought to you by the Music and More Foundation on KUAW 98.5 FM. I am your host that does the most, Janell Banks. Don't forget, May 19th, you can catch me at the Comedy Club of KC. Tickets are on sale there, $18 plus tax. Spend that $20 on me. Pull up on me. Tell your friends to pull up. Thank y'all so much. Bye.
Yeah, I can't do my normal outro.